intelligent consumer, I want to compare Atari asteroids with other companies' asteroids. But other companies don't make asteroids. I wanted to compare Atari Missile Command with other companies' missile commands, but other companies don't make that either.
After seeing that painful rendition of Pac-Man last episode, I decided to take it easy for a bit and watch some TV.
Nobody compares to Atari.
You are the player, and the arcade is the arena. You focus your mind and propel yourself into a universe where you're the master of your destiny for as long as you can keep the trip going. This is the arcade experience. We're ColecoVision. We bring the arcade experience home with games like Donkey Kong with multiple screens, arcade controls, and arcade graphics that let you have the arcade experience at home because your vision is our vision. ColecoVision.
Awesome!
It's Donkey Kong, the arcade sensation, and now you can play it at home.
Hang on, sweetheart! I'm gonna save you!
Now you can play Donkey Kong on your ColecoVision, Atari VCS, or Intellivision video game system. Donkey Kong has multiple screens, just like the arcade game.
You're not gonna stop me, you stupid ape!
Play Donkey Kong on your ColecoVision, Atari VCS, or Intellivision video game system.
Don't worry, darling! I'll save you!
Oh, yeah? Donkey Kong for the ColecoVision.
Donkey Kong?
In the early 80s, Nintendo was starting to find its footing in the US gaming market. After having an unsuccessful start with their first arcade game Radar Scope, and on the threat of being evicted from their warehouses by their landlord, Nintendo finally hit it big when they released Donkey Kong on July 9th, 1981. The stubborn monkey that kidnapped its carpenter owner's girlfriend put Nintendo on the map, and the game found success in other forms like merchandising. It was reasonable to believe that the game would see a home console release, but the real question was on what system. Coleco was the first to get a deal with Nintendo, getting exclusive home rights as well as making it the packing game for their new upcoming system. And in the next year, when Coleco gave us their vision, they also gave us their version of Donkey Kong. This port was released in August of 1982, the same day as the ColecoVision, because that is what a packing game does. Now usually I would have the game in its box, but unfortunately this never had a box or manual of its own to my knowledge. But I'm sure that can be rectified nowadays. I doubt anybody cared when they had the hottest game in their hands and at home, but was it any good? Well, we're about to find out as we take a better look at Donkey Kong. With a new system and the best arcade game to boot, it was make or break time for Coleco. Luckily, their vision would pay off. You control Mario and have to rescue Pauline from your rogue pet ape. Now, on the slightest chance you've never actually heard of Donkey Kong beforehand, nah, I doubt it. I'm sure you viewers have a good general idea of how it goes. But this is the Coleco port, and that's a whole other barrel of monkeys.
Hey, we're the Monkees!
We start off at the first level, 25M. You've probably noticed a big change already. DK is on the right as opposed to the left. Seriously, Donkey Kong, this is not the time to get political. An odd change, but not uncommon with other ports of the time. Another uncommon thing was the sprites looking like the arcade sprites. Mario almost looks exactly like he does in the arcade, and everything else was as close as you can get it. It isn't perfect, of course, as there are some cosmetic changes and random holes in some places, and the barrels being transparent, but I made it to the top and we jumped straight to 100M. Now this level is nearly identical, only missing an extra platform, assuming it was too much to put on the screen, which is probably why 25M has DK on the left. But other than that, the level plays out as it should, with bonus items in the right place, hammers in the right place, fire guys being assholes. But once you walk over all the rivets, you'll win this stage and head back to... or head straight to 75M. Usually we would wrap back around to 25M and get this level after that, but Coleco has tabled the turn, so here we are. Now this level is probably the closest to replicating the arcade, though without the bouncing springs, replacing that with an additional fire guy. Keep in mind that yes, while the ColecoVision was the most advanced home system out there, it even wasn't capable of fully mirroring the arcade experience. I was even surprised to find out that they didn't have the elusive 50M more Pie Factory level. I thought for sure it would be in older ports, but that's only on computer versions. I wonder what it was about this level that made it so unprogrammable. Was it the moving DK or pies? Was Nintendo somehow a fetish on eggplants but later prejudice against pies? Was it the fact it was a cement factory and Mario kicked him out of there to start a business? Or am I thinking on this way too hard and sounding too much like a DK nerd? After you reach Pauline in 75M, that's where things get weird, as you'll go to 100M, then back to 75M, then all the way back to 25M for no real rhyme or reason. But as long as you can make it to the top or remove the rivets before the bonus timer reaches 0, you'll continue going. But if you fall a great height or get hit by anything lethal, you'll lose a life indicated on the top right. Lose all your lives, and the game is over. And that's how you play. And it probably couldn't get better than this if you played games at home in front of your TV. This no doubt gave Coleco the big leg up over its competitors, as they had the hottest game on their system and it was a good port to boot. Of course it would be ported to the competitors by Coleco themselves, but let's be honest, they couldn't compare. I wonder what would happen if you put the Atari 2600 port in the expansion module with the Coleco port. Does it then become the perfect port? Somebody get me the expansion module so I can test out my hack theory for Coleco's Super DK Deluxe. Apart from the sound bites it can recreate, this game does not have any music. Next. While Coleco's vision was a superior system compared to what was out there in the early 80s, it didn't do a whole lot to give anything extra. What they were able to do was give you a few skill settings to try out by yourself or with a second player if you have one, though I certainly understand why we don't have any more additional features, as you can only do so much with this game, and the primary focus was most likely to get the graphics just right, but at least there are a few glitches you can try out at the beginning. Ever wanted to go through the world? I'm also pretty baffled they implemented 2 players in the first place. They think we're gonna play with 2 people? People are nuts out there. Donkey Kong sold as much as the ColecoVision did, into the millions, about 2 million units to be exact. Like I said in its initial heyday, it was also ported to the Atari 2600, Intellivision, and a whole slew of computers. But when Nintendo came out with their entertainment system, Donkey Kong stayed exclusively on Nintendo systems. Mainly. On the subject of the NES, Atari and Nintendo were in talks with bringing the Famicom to the States, but when Coleco announced a new Donkey Kong port for their Atom computer, Atari would eventually back out of the deal, losing out on what could have saved them from the impending crash ahead. Donkey Kong's success continued to grow with 2 sequels, and after a somewhat lengthy hiatus, returned to form by getting his own country and has continued to find himself in more games and spin-offs, while his original owner found himself going super, and I think you know the story after that. So, what is my rate to play? When you are a company that has a new system, and one of the most popular games to have is your packing game, you're not going to want to screw this up, and that is something Coleco did not. Their vision of Donkey Kong was a solid one, as it got as close as it could get to being perfect at the time, with levels looking close enough to the arcade, and the gameplay being exactly as it should. Yes, it isn't perfect, there's the cutscenes and a level missing, but the home console scene couldn't match what was at your local arcade, but we all could admit, it was a lot better than what Atari could offer with other games. It's also just fascinating to see a Nintendo game before Nintendo had a system, so if anything, that should be worth a play. And did I mention it was fun? Because it is, even with having a controller more complicated than a joystick and button. Maybe it'd be better to substitute it with the Genesis controller, cause that's what I did, because that can be a thing. To conclude, I give this port a play rate of gotta play. But that's only my opinion. If you have your own thoughts, leave a comment. If you like what you see, leave a like. If you think others could enjoy this, share it around the web. And if you want to see more, subscribe! Anyway, this has been BrianTheBlue Game Reviews, Donkey Kong, for the ColecoVision. Ryan here saying thanks for watching my game review. You can find me elsewhere like on Co-op.com, where me and my friends play through various games for you to see. We do Let's Plays and weekly shows, having fun and getting frustrated in the process. Subscribe today to see what we play next in the coming weeks. Plus, I'm a part of the Millennial X channel. Me and my arcade buddies also love our fair share of gaming, plus goofing around with video topics or each other when we can. We play games, hunt games, and soon review games, movies, and console generations. Change the channel and check us out when you're able. But don't forget, I have plenty of other content on this channel with original series like quick views, console reviews, AC reviews, and current calamities. From software to hardware, I provide any and all gaming reviews. Check out Jacobians further to see what I have to offer. That's all the promotion from me. Click the I to go watch either the previous or upcoming episodes of Game Reviews. Well, that was fun. But what's going to be the next game I review? Let's see, maybe some more Atari, maybe this computer game I don't have the computer to, I don't know. How about, hold on. Nah, how about some Nintendo? Mamma mia, I have a lot of Mario on here.
Something's coming up the plumbing, poor Luigi's in a bind. Giant turtles out to get him, creepy crabs are right behind. Fighter flies, jeepers yikes, they're all coming out the pipes.
Mario, where are you? It's Atari Mario Brothers with Mario from Donkey Kong, his brother Luigi, and lots of crazy creatures. And it's twice the fun when 2 play at once, because you need all the help you can get. Mario, where are you? Mario Brothers, new from Atari.